Greetings! So, with us being 10 years old, many people have been asking the question if becoming a top player is too late now, and the answer is no. Thanks for watching and see you next time. Okay, just kidding. But the question is often asked genuinely by many ambitious new players. I think it is in the game's interest to explore why it's far from being too late if you wanted to become a top player. After all, top players can seem so far ahead from the perspective of a new player that it can be quite discouraging. I mean, they are far ahead, but that's why they are top players, after all. Don't get me wrong, but many in the top 50 barely have 1,000 hours of gameplay. Of course, it doesn't count unranked maps, and yes, DT has a bug which inflates the playtime, because the game adds the normal lengths to your clock and so on. But it is safe to say that you might have sank more time into another game already than some of the top players did in OS. One of my favorite ancient philosophers, Winnie the Pooh, once said that in order to master the basics, the newcomer must accept any rules and methods laid out to him, even if they seem illogical at first. If you want to learn how to play chess really good from scratch, you first learn some already established openings, watch some famous chess matches and adapt those techniques into your game. You don't just start inventing new openings by yourself without barely even knowing the rules. The game is pretty damn old and techniques were mastered through generations to the point where it is incredibly difficult to revolutionize chess, even by the most experienced players.
But Verto, what does chess have to do with
Oh fuck me, I can't do this anymore. But you might ask that, what does chess have to do with OS? Get to the point already. While OS is much younger than chess, 10 years is still a lot of time. Many groundbreaking changes went through the game and its competitive meta. Both OS and chess newcomers arrived to the game with generations of older players paving the way with their experience and guidance. You want to learn aiming? Here you can find all the jump practice maps. You want to learn streaming? Players already made stream practice maps outlining your projected progression through them. Just imagine if you had to learn everything from old maps. It would be incredibly hard to match current rates of improvement without the tools available right now. However, first you have to accept that you won't get magically better with a tablet after 20 hours of playtime, and play more is legitimate advice at that level. Got that? No? You already want to be a top player even though you registered 5 hours ago? And that's the only way you are going to enjoy the game? Fine, but you literally just have to play the game more. Like, whatever is fine. The only legitimate advice at the very beginner level is what not to do if your goal is to improve as fast as possible. These things include retrying a map too many times in a row. If you see this message, it's probably time to stop. Having a small pool of maps in rotation. By playing more, it is implied that you should play more maps as well. Blaming external factors. Whether it's your mouse, keyboard, or your genetics, they have very little to do with improvement at the very beginning. If you feel tilted, it's time to stop playing for a bit. Staying within your comfort zone. I mean, how do you expect to improve if you play maps you can already play? It's fine just chilling with some easy maps once in a while, but if you want to improve, you will have to go outside of your comfort zone. Focusing on maps which are clearly outside your skill. It is the easiest way to develop bad habits. Some maps are easier to pass than others, so don't let that HP2 airman pass fool you. The HP system works in mysterious ways, so passing a map doesn't mean it is in your skill range. Not being able to pass certain maps also doesn't mean that the map is outside your skill range.
That is gonna happen. No way, is that gonna happen to Verto? I'm gonna feel so terribly bad for Verto if that does manage to trip him up to the point of failing. Does he have enough HP to make it through? Slow slider! Another slow slider! Is that enough? Oh my lord, he will fail out right at the end of that slider! Oh my god! Verto!
Actually failed.
Failed at the end.
It's silly, I know. Okay, since that's out of the way, let's move forward. You might still have some doubts about making it as a top player. Accepting experienced players' advice only make you despair, as they expect you to improve at a rate you don't think you can. Seeing their playtime only discourages you, and you start thinking they are so talented that you couldn't compare. Not even in 1,000 years. You were only above average at best in other games after all, so you feel like even if you follow all the tips to the letter, people starting later than you will easily overtake you without even trying, due to sheer talent. That is an understandable thought and 100% valid. Unfortunately, people are not equal and it's not different from OS either. I could lie and tell you that OS is somehow the only level playing field where everyone is equal and everyone improves at the same rate, but it simply wouldn't be true. Some people just seem to have an innate talent for clicking circles very fast or very accurately, or both. However, thinking like this will only slow down your improvements. A confident but humble mindset is very important for improvement. If you are thinking, oh man, I'm definitely gonna miss that hard part, then don't act surprised when you actually do miss, exactly where you imagined you would. While some players may improve faster than you, most of them will quit long before reaching the coveted top player status. Some due to injuries, others due to life situations, some just get bored. At the end of the day, no amount of talent can compensate for dedication. Even if you cannot be the best overall player, there are always some niche aspects you can improve yourself in and earn respect. You know, that sweet ass sauce clout, oh yeah! Anyhow, everyone has a hidden talent. Not literally hidden, you know what I mean, don't like a smart ass. Everyone has a hidden talent, but it's difficult to find it at the very beginning of your OS journey. The truth is, there is no such player who is the best in every single aspect of the game. Aiming to be that player is just ridiculous, but you can always choose something to be the best at. Some players dedicate themselves to score farming, others to getting the most SS plays. Some master alt maps or low AR reading. These players aren't necessarily high in the PP rankings, but they are definitely one of the best at their respective niches. Warning! Personal opinion coming through. I am not too fond of specializing too much on one skill aspect. Sure, I respect cutting edge plays in some niches, but I think a big part of what makes a good player as a whole is having a balanced skill set. But if your kink is playing everything with easy hidden, then all power to you. The only important thing here is to enjoy what you are doing. If you are not enjoying playing a game, then what are you doing with your life? Come on. It's a game after all. A leisure activity. Don't make whatever player you are into your whole identity either. It's not really healthy. I mean, what are you going to do? Write it on your CV that you are a hard rock player? Come on. So, we already went through how the experience of older players help you improve faster compared to previous generations. We also discussed how becoming one of the best can be achieved in many ways. I think the constant influx of relatively new players in the top 100 already proves that it is not too late to become a top player. However, some might suggest that we are reaching physical limits and nearing some sort of endgame. This couldn't be further from the truth. Although there have been some serious improvements the past couple of years, we are nowhere near the limit. The mapping meta has heavily focused on a very select few skill sets. Many niche skills simply lack progressively more difficult maps to become viable. A couple of years ago, flow aim was not really considered a viable farming skill. Due to recent mapping meta changes, however, we first-hand experienced the potential flow aim has in the competitive scene. And let's not get started on aspects which don't even give PP right now, like finger control. Which also raises the point that skill isn't necessarily physical. There are numerous skills like reading which don't really have physical limits, but mental ones. We can get in an argument whether PP should measure these types of skills, but that's not gonna happen in this video. With more and more types of maps getting made and ranked, hopefully we will be able to progress in often overlooked skills as efficiently as we have been able with jumps. Perhaps the upcoming PP changes will encourage mappers to rank all sorts of challenging maps by making more skill aspects viable. I think we can say that these points are pretty strong arguments against the notion that it is too late to become a top player. But what about a different kind of lateness? Oftentimes the older part of the community can be heard saying that it's much easier to improve as a kid, for various reasons. Stuff like young people generally learning faster, having more time on their hands, or some sort of dark lolly magic that only works if you are underage. I believe that there is some truth in the stereotype that younger players improve faster, but as I mentioned earlier, sheer talent means nothing without dedication, even in us. I mean, how are you gonna improve if you aren't even playing? What kids may have going for them over older players, they can make it up by approaching improvement a little bit smarter. Many times I have seen players replaying the whole map when they only couldn't do one tiny segment of it. So instead of playing an OS slot machine game, hoping that you will hit next time, the smart boomer can edit out the difficult part. Maybe flip it as well and make the circle smaller so he wouldn't get mental blocks and just practice the pattern before making another attempt. There are many ways to improve more efficiently, and this is probably one of the most obvious one. But okay, let's say that you need tangible proof that you can still become an Oath Rhythm champion at the ripe age of 25. Well, as long as you can put in the hours, there is nothing that could hold you back, really. You can see a number of high-skilled players well past 20, some even registered after they become 20. They are pretty much the living proof that no, it's not too late to become a top player even if you are out of high school already. Of course, that doesn't negate other aspects, like having to work, being stressed out about taxes, slowly losing hope that you will ever become happy and fulfilled while your childhood dreams crumble before your very eyes. You know, just the usual adult stuff. But other than that, yeah, old age by itself won't stop you. So, to summarize, no, it's not too late to become a top player in 2019, even if you had just started now. We are far away from reaching the human limits. The diverse selection of skills, inputs, goals, etc. ensures that there isn't just one skill indicator of what is impressive. While PP is tangible and very prominent, it does not cover all types of skills. So don't worry about your rank too much. Seeking validation too much out of a circle-clicking game is not really healthy anyway. I mean, if you get triggered that some random dude didn't really acknowledge your skill, then that might be an indication that you are kind of too invested in the game. And that's coming from a guy who is fairly invested in this game. Anyway, what do you guys think? Can you think of any more reasons why it isn't too late to become a top player that I haven't mentioned? Or do you disagree and have a logical explanation to support your stance? Let me know down in the comments below. I'm sure you do.